Good afternoon to one and all. So before going to the class, so I have to introduce myself to all the students. So myself is Dr. Srinivas Rao Divi. Okay, I was recently joined in EI department. Okay, so I was done my BTech from LBRC Mayalvaram. I was done my PG from NIT Kurukshetra. I was done my PhD from NIT Warangal. Okay, uh, so before going to here class, so we'll see the basic introduction part for the subject. So the subject name is Basic Electrical and Electronics Engineering (BE). Okay, and the main purpose of this subject is to know the what are the basic network theorems and basic electrical circuits.
ఉంటాను ఐస్ క్రీమ్ తినడమే అన్నీ అంటే మన జాలీగా ఉంటుంది కానీ అవన్నీ అంటే మనకి టైం పడుతుంది అనుకుంటాను నువ్వేమంటావు నా మాట వింటే అన్నీ ఆడుకోవచ్చు ఇదిగో ఇక్కడి నుంచి మొదలు పెడతాను
Okay, so by using this basic electrical and electronics engineering subject, so the students are able to learn the different basic concepts of electrical and electronics. So how the networks analysis was to be performed, what are the different basic uh, laws are present, like Ohm's laws, Kirchhoff's laws, and how to convert the circuits from one form to another form, star to delta and delta to star. Like that we can learn. Similarly, we have the idea of the AC and DC circuit analysis. So what are the different types of power supplies? AC and DC power supplies. How these will be obtained? Okay, and what are the different um, generation of these AC and DC signals are generated? Similarly, coming to electronics point of view, so in the electronics point of view, we will see, so what are the basic components which are present in any electronic circuits. So in any electronic circuits, we will generally find out the semiconductor devices. We will find out semiconductor devices, and those semiconductor devices are nothing but the diodes, transistors. Those semiconductor diodes are nothing but diodes, transistors, and if you go in advance, we'll get JFET, FETs like that. Okay, so like this we have the we have to learn the basic principles and operating principles of these different components, different elements in a given circuit. So that is in terms of electrical and in terms of electronics. Okay, so like this we have the course arrangement. Okay, so the basic electrical and electronics engineering, and before that going to in depth, so first unit will see the DC circuits. Okay, so today we'll see the DC circuits, and so what is the basic of a DC circuits? So what is the first of all, what is the current and what is the voltage? Okay, and how we can know the how we will find out the electric current, so that it will be identified by using the basic a battery. So this figure will shows the battery. Okay, so here we have a copper electrode and zinc electrode, and we have H2SO4 is the electrolyte solution. So when these two electrodes are connected through this is nothing but a resistor, okay, and we can consider it as nothing but a load. And by connecting these two electrodes through a resistor or a load, so when these are connected, there is a electrons will be passes through this external circuit, and these electrons will be passes through this resistor. So by that there is a flow of the electrons, and when there is a flow of the electrons will be possible, that we can consider it as a current. Hello, so are you getting my voice? Is Vijay? Hello, hello. Hello, hello, are you getting my voice? Is Vijay? Okay, I think you are listening my are you getting my voice audible? Anyone please respond. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so coming to the how the current will be represented in an electrical circuits. So that is the flow of electrons will be considered as an current. The flow of the electrons will be considered as a current. Okay, that current will be obtained from, or the flow of electrons is possible from the, there is a potential difference is occurred, that is nothing but the voltage. So voltage is nothing but the difference in the potentials. So that is voltage, positive voltage and negative voltage. So difference of these two charge carriers will be considered as an voltage. So by using this circuit we can see the electrons direction is in this that is from zinc to copper. So but for the consideration of the circuit analysis and network analysis, we will consider the conventional direction of current. The conventional direction of current. This conventional direction of current is opposite to the direction of electron flow. The conventional direction of current or conventional flow of current is opposite to the direction of the electron flow. So most of the circuits analysis will consider this conventional current flow direction only. Okay, so it is similar to as a water pump. So when there is a water pump, the pump is pumping the water, the pump is sending the water, and again it will be coming to the pump. So it's like a closed loop. It's like a closed loop. Okay, here the water flowing is nothing but the current. Okay, so like this we can represent the electric current. Okay, so generally we have two types of currents, that is AC and DC. So conventional means, so that is nothing but the opposite direction of the electron flow. So we'll consider the opposite direction to the electron flow is considered as conventional direction. So most of the cases, so we'll follow this direction. So it is not the electron direction, it is opposite to the electron flow direction. It will be considered as a conventional direction or conventional flow of the current. Okay. So like this we will see. So in the that circuit. So we have a zinc is negatively charged, okay, and it is said to be at negative potential with respect to the electrolyte. And similarly, whereas anode is said to be at positive potential related to the electrolyte. Between themselves, copper plate is assumed to be at a higher potential than the zinc rod. The difference in potential is continuously maintained by the chemical action going in the cell, which supplies the energy to establish this potential difference. So how the difference will be maintained means there is a chemical reaction will be occurs in the cell. Okay, by that there is a potential difference will be maintained, and by that there is a generation of electrons and flowing of electrons through the external circuit. So the next one is the basic elements of electrical circuits are resistor, inductor, and capacitor. So resistor, capacitor, and inductor. So the first one is you will see resistor or resistance. So the property of substance due to which it opposes the flow of electricity. Okay, so generally the resistance is the property of the resistor which opposes the flow of the current, So that will be considered as a resistance. The resistance property is present for all the type of the metals and metals and insulators. For the insulators, the resistance property is very high. That's why they does not allow the current flow through them. So the resistor is nothing but it is nothing but an element. The property of the resistor is nothing but the resistance, and that property is nothing but the opposition or the opposing the flow of the electricity. It will be considered as resistance. So the for the metals the resistance property is very less. That's why the metals will having high conductivity, whereas for insulators the resistance property is very high. That's why it will opposes the it for the insulators the resistance property is very high. That's why uh, insulators does not allow the current through pass through them. Okay, current does not flow through the insulators. So generally the unit of the resistance is nothing but the ohm. Ohm is considered as unit of resistance, and a conductor is said to be have a resistance of 1 ohm if it permits 1 ampere current to flow through it when 1 volt is impressed across its terminals. Okay, so when there is a 1 volt of voltage is applied between two terminals of the resistor, and that resistor is having okay. So here we are saying that a resistor or resistance. So resistance is a property of the resistor. Resistance is a property of the resistor. So that resistance is nothing but the opposing of the flow of the electrons. So opposing nature, it which opposes the flow of the electrons or flow of the current. Okay. So this property is present for all types of the elements. Okay, especially for metals the resistance is very low. That's why the metals will allow the most of the current through them flow through them. Okay, so for the insulators the resistance property is very high. For insulators the resistance property is very high. That's why that's why they do not allow the current flow through them. Okay, and the unit of the resistance is ohm. So we can consider ohm. You can measure the resistance in terms of the ohms. Okay, that is the basic unit. So we have also a mega ohms, kilo ohms. We also have mega ohms in terms of kilo ohms. Also, we can measure the resistance. Similarly, we have milli ohms and micro ohms also can be used. The symbol for the ohm, that is resistance, is nothing but mho. Okay, in this way we can write that is considered as ohm. Okay. So the loss of resistance, the resistance or that is resistance offered by a conductor depends on the following factors. So it varies directly as the length is varies. Resistor voltage ni decrease chestunda. Yes. The resistor is decreases the voltage. So that one that we'll see in the next class, that is it will makes the decrease of the voltage, that we will call it as a potential decrease in the potential voltage fall in voltage. We can call it as a we can say that there is a decrease in voltage. Hello. So are you getting my voice clearly, or if there is any problem you can also raise. Okay. So the resistance of any material will be depends upon the following factors. Okay, and the first one is its length, depends on the length. The length changes, the resistance of the material will be changes. And the second point is it is inversely proportional to the cross section area of the conductor. The resistance will be changes inversely with respect to the cross sectional area of the conductor. And it also depends on the nature of the material, type of the material. It also depends on the temperature of the conductor. So based upon all these factors, the resistance of a given resistor changes its resistance. The resistance of a material changes depending upon all these four factors. When the length of the conductor changes, when the cross-sectional area of the conductor changes, and also the nature of the material changes, and also the temperature of the conductor changes, then the resistance of the material or the conductor will be changes. So that will be related by this equation. So by excluding the fourth point, that is it depends on temperature of the conductor, by excluding that fourth point, we have 3 points from the length, cross-sectional area and nature of the material. So we have R is proportional to L by A. So R is proportional to L and inversely proportional to cross-sectional area of the conductor. And from this we have a proportionality constant rho is obtained. And this rho is nothing but the resistivity. This rho is nothing but resistivity. And R is equals to rho L by A. Okay. So where R is the proportionality constant and we can call it as a resistivity. Okay, and it depends upon the nature of the material. Okay, and we can call it as a specific resistance, and we can call it as a specific resistance or resistivity. So what are the units of resistivity? Units of resistivity. And from the previous equation, we obtain the rho. Rho is equals to A into R by L. So whereas A is the cross-sectional area. So it is nothing but in terms of meter square. So in terms of the meter square into R is the ohm, and in the denominator we will get the length. So length is in terms of meter. So here in the numerator we have meter square and the denominator we have meter, and meter square and meter will cancel and we have 1 meter. Okay, and that represents the units of the resistivity is ohm meters. Ohm meter. You can represent the resistivity units are ohm meter. Okay, and the next one is conductance and conductivity. So previously we are seeing that resistance. Okay, so that is from that we can get the resistivity. So now we have conductance and conductivity. So whereas the conductance is nothing but the inverse of the resistance. Inverse of the resistance. So it is nothing but the property of the allowing the electrons or the flow of the current through the metals or conductors. So it is a property of the material allowing the electrons to pass through the conductor or materials, whether it is metals or semiconductor materials. Okay. So conductance is reciprocal of the resistance. Okay, and that is nothing but represented in terms of represented with the letter G. Whereas resistance is measured represented with R. The resistance is represented with the letter R, whereas conductance is represented with the letter G. And this G is inverse. G is nothing but conductance, and it is inverse of the resistance. That is G is equals to 1 by R. The resistance of conductor measures the opposition which it offers to the flow of current. Resistance measures the opposition, whereas conductance will be measures the inducement which it offers to its flow. So how much how much it will be allows the flow of the electrons. So that will be represents the conductance. Okay, from the conductance. So here we have the R is equals to rho L by A. In the previous equation, R is equals to rho L by A, and from this we can represent G is equals to conductance. G is equals to 1 by rho into A by L. 1 by rho into A by L. And here 1 by rho indicates the sigma. 1 by rho is nothing but the sigma. Here sigma is nothing but the conductivity. Sigma is nothing but the conductivity. Where sigma is called the conductivity or specific conductance of a conductor. Sigma is called the conductivity. Okay. And the unit of conductivity is conductance is nothing but Siemens. You can represent the conductance in terms of Siemens. So early it is nothing but mho. So because it is opposite to the resistance, the unit of resistance is ohm, and conductance is the opposite to the resistance. So that's why the unit of the conductance is also considered as reverse, that is mho, mho. But recent times we are representing in terms of the Siemens. It is also same. The unit of the conductance is representing in Siemens. So and the conductivity is nothing but the Siemens per meters. The unit of conductivity is nothing but Siemens per meter. So like this we have some terminologies regarding conductance and resistance. So we can also see what is the effect of temperature on resistance of a material. So here when the temperature is increases, for a given material, suppose we have a wire is there, So when we are placed this wire in a oven, okay, so then we will observe the how the conductance resistance will be changes. Okay, we have to increase the temperature. By increasing the temperature, so you have to observe how the resistance will be changes. You have to observe the how the resistance will be changes. So by doing that experiment, by increasing the temperature or rising temperature, so what happens for the different types of materials? So here we have three types of materials. Generally we have three types of materials. One is metals, insulators, okay, and semiconductor metals. These are the, we can say basic, materials are metals, semiconductor materials, and insulators. So with this materials, we will observe the what happens the resistance change. Okay, so by increasing temperature, there is a increase of the resistance of pure metals. For pure metals, the resistance also increases when the temperature is increases. The temperature is increases, the resistance of the metals will be increases. So that nature of increase of resistance will be considered as positive temperature coefficient of resistance. The temperature increases, the resistance also increases. It will be considered as positive temperature coefficient of resistance. That property. Okay. And for alloys, okay, for alloys, there is a rise in temperature, and also the resistance of alloys also increases. But the increase is not as much of the metals. It is not like as the metals. The resistance change in resistance occurs in the metal, not same as the alloys. So there is a small increase. There is a small increase in the resistance. Whereas in pure metals, there is a linear change of the resistance will be occurs. When the temperature increases, the resistance also increases almost linearly. Whereas for alloys, it is not linear. So there is small variations will be there, that we can call, that is nothing but irregular. Irregular variations are there. Hello. Okay. So the pure metals, for pure metals, when the temperature is increases, the resistance also increases. That property will be considered as positive temperature coefficient of resistance. Similarly, for the electrolytes and insulators, the resistance will be decreases when the temperature is increases. When the temperature is increases, for the electrolytes and insulators, the resistance is decreases. It is opposite nature. Okay, for the insulators. That's why this type of the nature is considered as a negative temperature coefficient of resistance. Negative temperature coefficient of resistance. So metals are having positive temperature coefficient of resistance, whereas electrolytes and insulators are having negative temperature coefficient of resistance. So please remember these 2 points. Okay, so metals are having positive temperature coefficient of resistance, whereas for insulators it is having negative temperature coefficient of resistance. It means reverse. The temperature is increases and resistance of insulators will be decreases. Okay, like this we can study the effect of the temperature on temperature of different metals based upon the change in resistance. Okay, the next one is Ohm's law. So there are two types of supplies. All of you know that, AC and DC, alternating current and direct current. alternating current and direct current. Okay, so for our recharge purpose, for our battery, okay, for our electronic devices, okay, all these will be operates on the DC voltage. Okay, so we are using for phone charging. Okay, so that charger will convert the alternating voltage into the direct current, DC voltage. Okay, alternating current to direct current. Okay, so like this, we have two types of voltage sources. For supplying of the motors, if you want to supply the power supply to a motor, okay, so that is AC supply. So it will operate on the base of the AC supply. There is no need of conversion from AC to DC. For operating of the electronic devices, it requires the DC supply. Operating of the electrical components like motors, heaters, okay, greasers, okay, and AC, okay, that is air conditioners. And for this, we require alternating current, that is nothing but AC voltage, directly AC voltage. Based on AC voltage, they will operate. For the all electronic devices, it is nothing but our TV, laptop, okay, phone, all these works on based upon the DC voltage, from the AC voltage to DC voltage. Okay, okay, so for AC voltage we have a frequency. For AC voltage we have frequency. For DC voltage there is no frequency. There is a constant supply of the voltage from the DC source. We have a constant source of DC voltage we will obtain from the DC sources. Whereas in alternating or AC sources, we will get alternating voltages. That is nothing but we will get positive source, positive voltage and negative voltage. After some time, again it is positive and negative. Okay, like alternating voltage, like sine wave signal, it will produce as the sine wave signal. But having a frequency, it is having a frequency that is nothing but 50 hertz. In our India, it is 50 hertz of the frequency. So all of you know that frequency means, okay, it is inverse to the time period. Frequency is nothing but inverse to the time period. What is the time period? Time period is nothing but the completion of one cycle, that is one positive cycle and one negative cycle, one full cycle. So this is the sine wave signal. Okay, so this is the one time, this is the time period T. All of you know this, I think. Okay, so inverse of 1 by T is nothing but the frequency, and it is represented in units of hertz. Okay, suppose this is the, in our India we are going to use the 50 hertz. You may observe some components or devices, that is some of the devices will also operate about 60 hertz. 60 hertz, that is especially from foreign countries. Foreign countries, they will be operate, I mean in China, some other countries, USA, so they will operate at 60 hertz. You can also observe in some components power rating, you can observe. So 60 hertz, it means, suppose this is the 50 hertz. First one consider this is the 50 hertz. It means 1 by T. T is nothing but then it is 1 by 50 seconds. This is the 1 by 60 seconds. For rotation of one, or for obtaining of one full cycle, it takes 1 by 50 seconds. 1 by 50 seconds. It means like this, the generator, power supplying generator will rotate like this with the one 1 by 50 seconds, 1 by 50 seconds of period of time, it rotates one cycle, one circle. Okay. See how much speed it is rotating. Okay. And similarly, for 60 hertz, for 60 hertz, it will rotate more fast. For generating of 60 hertz, it will rotate more fast. Okay. So like this, we have some variations of the frequency. For AC signals, we have frequency. Okay. Based upon that frequency, there is some impedances will present that we will see in the future classes. Okay. So the main aim is here we are discussing about the DC and AC sources. Okay. So AC will be converted into DC by using rectifier. Rectifier.